Do you want to live through this?
On ancient ground, a terrifying evil has been unleashed. Now, 5 strangers are our only hope to stop it.
Oh, yeah!
On Friday, January 19th,
Richie, look out!
the showdown
Open the door!
is on. From Robert Rodriguez, from Quentin Tarantino, from dusk till dawn, rated R.
Well, hello, Ramblers, and welcome to Cinemarcade. This is the podcast about movies, video games, and the sparks that fly when those worlds collide. My name is Steve Gutley. I am a criminal vampire killer. I don't know. I'm just a guy. I don't have cool tattoos. I'm not wearing a leather vest. I'm sorry. I'm not as cool as Seth Gecko, you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. They're giving me very judgmental looks. People can't see it. We're talking today about the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. I'm excited to be getting into it because it means that we have finally entered the blessed month of October. We're recording this in September, so we're projecting hopefully into the future, hoping that there will be an October, I guess. I don't know. Every month I'm just kind of taking it on faith. We're living paycheck to paycheck as a country right now. But I'm excited to be talking about this movie. We're going to do an entire month of horror movies. It's my very favoriteest time of the year, and we're kicking it off with a really fun one. But before we get started with that, I need to know who is in this hijacked RV with me right now as we barrel towards the border.
I'm a banana boa constrictor.
Ooh.
Because I want to be wrapped around something.
I knew that's where you were going. Okay. Man, banana boa constrictors have it good because they got to go drape around Britney Spears back in the day. They kind of drape around a lot of hotties.
That one guy on 6th Street.
That one guy on 6th Street, yeah.
Presumably because they always let other people... So, everybody on 6th Street.
You have a long life in captivity until you're set free in the Florida Everglades. And then you have an even longer life.
Yep, absolutely. That's J-Ban, by the way, everybody. We're excited to have you.
I always forget. J-Ban.
You have a
I don't
name.
think I ever
You
say
have a
my
name.
I am the grasshopper that is really confused why we deviated course to Mexico.
What are you talking about?
Because they weren't going to Mexico.
What's a grasshopper?
He said that. Who are these people in the RV with him?
Oh, you're just in.
I'm just a grasshopper in the RV.
Okay,
confused about the fact that what is
that
Mexico?
was a long walk. It was
a long hop. Excuse me. He's a grasshopper.
And I think grasshoppers migrate. So I don't know.
Well, then maybe this was.
Maybe we need to text Ailish to ask her if grasshoppers migrate.
Okay, I'm on it. We'll find out for sure. We're gonna put a pin in this. But yes, so we have an entire crew here today to talk about this wild, very silly movie. I'm very excited to get into it. Let's learn a little bit about From Dusk Till Dawn, which was released January 19th, 1996. Yeah,
I didn't really pay that much attention to the distribution of duties here.
Okay,
and upon finishing this movie, my conclusion was that Quentin Tarantino wrote 45 minutes of a movie. Robert Rodriguez wrote 45 minutes of a movie. And then they bridged them together and then just made that movie.
That is pretty much right. That is pretty much right.
The second half of the movie, very Robert Rodriguez, fantasy horror, kind of at that era.
Yeah.
And then the first half of the movie was a Tarantino crime drama with Tarantino doing weird stuff and being the most deplorable character in the movie, as he usually is.
Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, that's that. We will get into that. This movie was released January 19th, 1996. It was directed by Robert Rodriguez, written by Quentin Tarantino, and it stars George Clooney, Harvey Keitel, Juliette Lewis, Quentin Tarantino, Tom Savini, Fred Williamson, Cheech Marin, John Hawkes, Michael Parks, Ernest Liu, Danny Trejo, and of course, Salma Hayek. God damn, is Salma Hayek ever in this movie. The early 90s were kind of a notorious dead zone if you are a horror nerd, okay? I think the ship had kind of sailed on the slasher craze of the 80s. So like until Scream kind of revitalized the genre, we had like a stretch of about like 7 or 8 years where there aren't.
Scream? Was that like
Scream was
2000?
96. Yeah, Scream was weirdly a Christmas release of 1996.
Just
but
what I wanted for Christmas.
that was the movie that kind of like brought horror back into the mainstream and made horror cool again, you know? So we get this whole stretch of Scream knockoffs after that because everybody's trying to do the self-aware postmodern thing that they were trying to do. But we're smack in the middle of this real kind of like dead zone. Like truly, like what are the great horror films of like 1990s or 1995? Like there really aren't many. Beetlejuice is 88. Yeah. See, even then, like I would say like People Under the Stairs or something like that, but these are like smaller, obscure movies. So, like, it was a bit of a hard sell to make a movie like this, especially one that is as gloriously trashy and grimy and goopy and over the top and silly. And it was so I think the only thing that really helped push this movie over the finish line was the fact that they had 2 of the hottest filmmakers in the industry on board at the same time. Now, we've talked about Quentin Tarantino. We did a whole episode on Reservoir Dogs. That as a refresher, just in case you were living under a rock, in 1996, Quentin Tarantino was kind of king of the world. Pulp Fiction came out and just like revitalized the indie movie industry, and everybody was just like on pins and needles wanting to see what he did next. And he kind of zagged on everybody by using his newfound clout to realize a long-standing dream of his by becoming an actor. People don't always realize, but before he was a filmmaker, he was trying to make it as an actor. He had a few small roles in commercials and a couple of sitcoms, most notably an episode of The Golden Girls where he plays an Elvis impersonator. You can go back and find that one. It's pretty fun.
And I'm assuming this desire to be an actor is also why he casts himself in every movie he makes.
He casts himself in every movie. Yeah, he puts a little cameo in there every time. I would say this is probably his largest acting role for sure. He's a cameo guy generally. But he finally had enough pull to kind of get himself into a major role, and luckily for him, Hollywood was in the middle of a bidding war for pretty much anything that Tarantino touched. Now, the idea for this movie goes back to 1988, and it comes from Robert Kurtzman. If you know that name, he is a special effects maestro. He's the kind of the guy who created all the effects for this. I think he went on to do every version of The Walking Dead, like almost every different series. So he's kind of like next level with the gore and makeup effects. He wrote a script back in 1988. He was just trying to break into the movie industry, and he wrote this with the intention of directing it. He wasn't satisfied with the script, though, so in 1990, he paid the then unknown Tarantino $1,500 to rewrite it. But even with the new script and a modest budget, studios were not willing to take a chance on the project, so it sat on the shelf for the next few years until Tarantino was able to revive the project with another young filmmaker that he'd recently become best buds with, and that is Texas's own Robert Rodriguez. I think we all live in Austin, Texas. We're all in like the performing arts community around here, so I think we're all at least like 1 or 2 degrees of separation away from somebody who's been in a Rodriguez movie.
He still does like 2 movies at the Paramount a year where he does a talk on them. So, and we've all seen the Spy Kids being filmed around town.
Yeah, absolutely. You see that a lot.
Stopped in traffic by it.
It's like Linklater, Rodriguez, and Wes Anderson, like all shoot like in and around Austin. So you'll see a lot of people like popping up in a couple of those. But Rodriguez at this point was making a name for himself as one of the pioneers of this new wave of independent cinema. He made his debut feature film El Mariachi for $7,000, which is insane. It would
Have
go
you
on.
read his book?
No, but I'm familiar with it. Is it Rebel with a Film Crew or something? Or Rebel Without a Crew?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but like, did you read that?
I did read it, but it was a long time ago, and I was just like, I both admire him and been like, dude, use a union.
He kind of likes to piss off the Directors Guild. Yeah, which I have a theory about that as we come up on this. But yeah, so that movie, $7,000 to make it. He made it with his buddies, like in his backyard, basically. It looks amazingly good for like how little money went into it and how amateurish a production it is. Definitely check it out. Or you could also watch the 1995 sequel/soft remake of El Mariachi called Desperado.
I love Desperado. I must have seen that movie 20, 25 times, like from the time I was a kid. I the guitar case with the guns, the sexy like song he's singing when he's like holding Selma Hayek, and it's just like everything about that movie is just so much fun. I fucking love Desperado.
We talk about The Mummy as a big bisexual awakening movie. Desperado is definitely a big bisexual awakening movie. Those are some hotties with bodies in that movie. That's kind of the movie that gave us Antonio Banderas as an American movie star, you know, which is still then and now like pretty difficult for like a non-American or non-English speaking actor to break out as big as Banderas did here. But that movie helped, and that like before that, I think Salma Hayek was like a telenovela actress in Mexico. Like she had not done a film over here, and now she's like the biggest deal. Everybody's like, where the hell did she come from? She's incredible. But this movie was kind of a solid little hit. It was still made for a budget, and it did quite well, and it got some good reviews, and it made Rodriguez a hugely in-demand director. So he and Tarantino met when they both wrote and directed segments for an anthology film called 4 Rooms, which is like 4 different like short movies, each by 4 different directors, with Tim Roth as a bellboy being kind of the one thing that unites all of them. The first 2 segments of that are unwatchably terrible. The Rodriguez section is quite fun, probably the best one in the movie, and then the Tarantino one is pretty solid as well. But yeah, they became like close friends after that. Obviously, it makes sense. They're both a couple of like brash, young, like genre obsessed, like movie nerds who are kind of carving their own path. Miramax gave Tarantino a blank check to make any project he wanted, and he surprised a lot of people by choosing this movie, which was going to be an acting vehicle for him, like we said, and it was going to be a horror movie, which just was not in the zeitgeist. But the price was low enough, and Tarantino was a proven draw, so the studio gave them $15 million and basically left them alone to shoot whatever they wanted. They were such hot stuff that they had no trouble attracting major talent to their small horror film, and they were really lucky to score George Clooney in his, I believe, first leading role.
Yeah, I think
at least definitely like first leading role in a major movie. I think he'd done some like indie stuff in the 80s or something, but he was hot off of ER, which was then and now the most watched television show of all time, I believe. Like, people forget how huge ER was, but it was massive, and he was clearly like the runaway breakout of that show.
Have you watched The Pit?
Yes.
Is it good?
Fucking incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. I was so glad it won the Emmy. The Pit is a show on HBO. It's kind of like a real time. Like each episode is an hour. And it takes place in an hour in the day in an emergency room.
I do know it's like it's one
hospital.
shift in the emergency room.
It's one long shift, and it's so intense and so good. Incredible show. I'm glad that did well at the Emmys. But yeah, so Clooney was like kind of already being pegged as like the next major like breakout movie star, and this was going to be his first at bat as a leading man. I think this beat. He had 2 movies come out in '96. One of them was this, and the other was One Fine Day, which is a deeply adorable romantic comedy with him and Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't know if you've seen that one, but that's like a really good like, oh shit, it's raining out and I'm depressed. I'm going to make some tea and watch like a girly movie. I swear to God, I'm a man. I'm an adult man.
Hey, stop it.
I'm just saying. I'm being heteronormative. You're right.
Deprecatingly, like insulting to yourself. Stop
I know.
Stop it.
I know. I need to be
safe, out and proud. I like One Fine Day.
I love that movie. One Fine Day. Give me a chamomile and give me a big warm ass blanket.
I don't like chamomile tea.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Well, you can't have any.
I like chamomile. Like, I just don't like chamomile tea.
Wait, what? You can have chamomile that's not tea?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. Okay.
Like,
Neither did I.
It grows all over the place in Michigan, where I'm from.
Oh.
It's like a ground covering.
And what, you eat it or you just smell it, or what are you doing with it? I don't know.
No, you can use it as a spice.
I'm sounding very ignorant, but I genuinely had no idea it was used for anything other than tea. Yeah.
I want to say that that's an ingredient in the Kingdom Come Deliverance games. I don't know. Because you make like potions, but the potions are all like basically herbal.
Yeah. I know you gather lots of stuff in like Skyrim and stuff like that. Maybe it's in there.
But yeah, I'm the same way. Chamomile tea, not a big fan.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, man. Maybe one day when I'm
Any other
86.
tea.
But right now,
86.
I don't know.
I need some chamomile so I can go to sleep.
Have we had a Clooney yet? Have we covered anything
No, I
with
don't
Clooney
think
in
we've
it
done
so
any
far?
Clooney.
I mean, he might have like a animated something down the line that has a game adaptation. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but yeah, this is kind of our first opportunity to talk about him.
Your first and probably only opportunity to talk about him.
Possibly, yeah. I love Clooney.
What's your favorite Clooney movie?
Oh, it's Oh Brother Where Art Thou, far and
Brother,
away.
Art
I've been
Thou.
on a Coen Brothers kick, just kind of watching all of them in a row, and he's it's kind of amazing that they found each other. Mm-hmm. Like George Clooney and the Coen Brothers, they don't seem like an obvious fit.
Really? Because
But-
I think that. So I have a lot to say about this movie, but I feel like one of the reasons why the first 30 minutes of this movie doesn't work is it's a Coen Brothers film without the Coen Brothers disasters. Because I feel like these characters are straight out of a Coen Brothers film, but they've got plot armor, and so they don't.
Bit.
Like because the way they use guns is just so like bullshit. And so like I would have really found it interesting to see this in like a Fargo-esque like, you know, where
A little
bad
more
things
knowing, yeah.
where bad things happen to them because like
Yeah,
they're
okay.
They really do go on a run of just nothing bad happening, everything going their way, even though
They kind of have a pretty bad day by the
they
end
don't
of
have
it.
a they
okay, yeah.
vampires
Kind of a
they-
bad night, you know.
That's
yeah,
true.
they have a rough one.
No, they have like the plot armor of these two villains like is so ridiculous. Like and like Quentin Tarantino gets shot through the hand and it's somehow not a problem the whole movie.
Yeah.
Do you know how fucked up you'd be if you were shot through the hand? Like
Well, I'll have more to say on that. I'll have more
But
to
look,
say on that.
all you need, it's something I learned as a redneck, all you need is duct tape.
that's not
That's
true.
it. That's it.
Not true.
Every
Duct
movie.
tape is not
Duct tape and super glue.
sanitary.
Have you not seen Green Room? Yeah, it worked fine. You just wrap it right up. It's great. Yeah. Rest of the cast, we have Harvey Keitel playing
Oh my
the
God, Harvey
jaded
Keitel is
preacher.
so good.
Love Harvey Keitel.
So
he's
good.
he's a
Took me-
Tarantino guy. He's been in Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction at this point.
Yeah.
So like yeah.
He'd been in for a little while, and I was like, wait, that's Harvey Keitel? Oh my god!
Yeah.
Because like the beard, I didn't recognize him because he's always like the other movies I've seen him in. He's always been clean shaven.
Famously,
and I was like,
on
damn,
our-
he's doing a great job here.
Our guest on our Reservoir Dogs episode dissed his performance in that movie. I'm curious what you would think of him in From Dusk Till Dawn. But he's playing an old preacher who's lost his faith. I think I like the. He chose to play this entire role with quiet dignity, and I think that's a
Yeah.
really fun choice in a movie that doesn't have a whole lot of real estate for either of those, but that's pretty great.
Well, and I think that's kind of what
He's my
makes
favorite character. Except for Tom Savini, who is my
Sex
favorite
Machine.
character.
Yeah. I love Sex Machine.
Sex Machine. Yeah, Tom Savini. They talk about bisexual awakening.
Really? Tom Savini?
Tom Savini and Selma
Love-
Hayek. They're so attractive.
I love to hear that. That's awesome because I have a lot to say about him. But Juliette Lewis in this as well.
Back to what
Yeah.
we're saying, I think.
Oh
that
yeah. Sorry.
Harvey Keitel. I think it works because of Harvey Keitel being the reserved character.
Yes.
He ends up kind of being the voice of reason as the movie carries on. At first unintentionally and then more intentionally as it goes.
It's really interesting. Harvey Keitel, both a muse for Tarantino and for Wes Anderson.
And Scorsese.
Scorsese
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
He was in Mean Streets and Taxi Driver back in the day. Yeah, no, he's had a prolific career. Pretty interesting dude. Yeah, Juliette Lewis is in this. She's kind of hot off another Tarantino project, although it's one he disowns. Have you seen Natural Born Killers?
Long time ago.
Long time ago. It's an Oliver Stone movie that's like loosely based on a spec script that Tarantino wrote. He disowns it completely. He says they rewrote it too much. It's not his movie anymore. But she's in that, and she was kind of like an up and coming, like hot young actress at the time. She's very good on Yellow Jackets.
Oh, she's so good on Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I that was one of the things where I was like, this tip of my tongue. Who is this?
Yeah, yeah.
And then there was like one particular scene where she made a face and was like,
Yep.
the lady from Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, very young Oscar nominee. She got an Oscar nomination for, speaking of Scorsese, for Cape Fear. Best
Ooh.
Supporting Actress for Cape Fear. She's good in that movie.
Yeah, I have only seen her, I think, in this and Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, and you might have seen her as the daughter in Christmas Vacation, if you ever watched that. But yeah.
It's been on. But I don't
Yeah,
know if I've ever
you may not have
watched it.
clocked. It's a small part. And then, of course, because we have Rodriguez and Tarantino, they're going to fill the rest of the cast out with a bunch of like genre icons. So we get Fred Williamson, who's like a legend of the like blaxploitation movies. Michael Parks, like a crazy, amazing, like prolific B-movie character actor, and the aforementioned Tom Savini, maybe the greatest special effects artist alive. He did all the Friday the 13th movies, The Prowler, all these other things, Dawn of the Dead. And, he's also been a director and an actor. And I think he's a pretty good naturalistic actor. And, hot.
I think
Hot
it's just
guy.
like I'm just collecting all of the different roles in movies.
He is,
movie
genuinely.
production.
Yeah.
I want to do everything.
He was a combat veteran in Vietnam, saw a lot of like really horrific shit, and like making movie makeup was sort of his way of processing it, and it's also coming from a place of like real experience. Yeah, he's an incredible guy. I love Tom Savini. Rodriguez also brought in some of his buddies from Desperado, including Cheech Marin, who is playing 3 roles here for
3
reasons that are
roles.
never addressed. Danny Trejo, who is also Rodriguez's cousin, I came to find out. And Selma Hayek, who gets to add another iconic bombshell role to her reel as the Queen Vampire. This movie had some spectacular gore effects, but the Miramax execs did not have a lot of faith in it, so they dumped it in early January, which is usually a kiss of death. But the movie found an audience. It grossed about $60 million on a $15 million budget. Got a couple of good reviews from people who met it on its level. And I think it's become kind of like a modest cult favorite. There are a couple of direct-to-video sequels. They both came out in 1999. One is called Texas Blood Money, which stars Robert Patrick, and the other is Hangman's Daughter, starring Tamura Morrison, a.k.a. Boba Fett. And Rodriguez would stay involved in the series. He served as a producer for both of the direct-to-video sequels. He directed almost every episode of a spin-off TV show, which actually aired on Rodriguez's TV network, which he named after a location in this movie. It's called El Rey. The El Rey Network is Robert Rodriguez's own network. I'm glad they didn't call it the Titty Twister Network. I think that would have been maybe a little bit too on the nose. Now, okay.
It would have been a different kind of.
I'm excited. Justin came into this movie fairly blind.
Fully blind.
Did you see the midpoint twist coming?
That this was going to become potentially the inspiration for Sinners? No. No.
There's a little bit of that.
It was as it was as soon as they got to Mexico, it was like a completely different movie, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening here?"
I genuinely think you hit the nail on the head, and I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but I think I believe Tarantino might have directed the first half of the movie, and Rodriguez directed the second half. And I say that just because Rodriguez has a tendency to break DGA protocols because he wants to make sure everybody who's involved in directing the movie gets credit for directing the movie. DGA rules say you have to have only one director. That's why he actually lost his DGA license for a while because of Sin City, because he gave co-directing credit to Frank Miller because he just used the storyboards that he drew like as a direct inspiration, and Quentin Tarantino, who directed one scene in that movie. So he lost his license for that. So he has a.
Why? I think that's so stupid.
It's
why,
very stupid.
Why can you have Coen brothers, but you can't have two?
You couldn't for a long time. Yeah, they had to change the rules. So that's why, like, I think Intolerable Cruelty or Lady Killers might be the first movie that both Coen brothers get credit as director. Before that, it was just
seems
Joel.
so unfair. Like, why?
Yeah, it's weird. And sometimes they bend the rules. Like the Hughes brothers were directors, the Maisels brothers were directors. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the exact specifics of the rules are. But either way, they can only credit one director. But I fully think, because the movie looks, feels, and is like directed completely differently in the two halves of the movie.
I respectfully disagree. I think it's two halves of a movie, but I think it's constructed to be that way. I think, like, much like the way, there's a long history of traditions of platforming a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like they, like, again, I personally don't like the first half, like, or the first quarter of the movie. I think the villainy is just a little bit like
kind of too ugly.
Well, it's not even too ugly because, like, in Pulp Fiction, you have these villains who are villainy, but there's a humanity to them.
likable.
Well, they don't even
These-
have to be likable. There's some that are
Yeah, they're like
completely
a little
dislikable,
charming.
but there's a humanity to
Yeah.
them. There's
Yeah.
there's a fault to them. There's something that they're a fully fleshed figure. You believe that a bullet could hit them. And
Yeah.
and I feel like the first quarter of this movie, or like the movie,
I was just thinking about the scene in Pulp Fiction where the bullet clearly did not hit them.
well,
Yeah.
no, but it could have.
But it's also like that's a movie.
That's a whole pivot point in,
It
their
is,
entire
yeah.
lives for some of them.
But that's the the fun contrast of that movie is that it is a movie about the violent underworld and the violent acts that people have to portray in it sometimes. But these are not people who are consumed by violence at every moment.
Well-
They talk about cheeseburgers and they talk
Yeah.
about movies and they have philosophical conversations and they're not like, and I think Seth and Richie Gecko, the two leads here, are much more like feral creations. They're kind of
real. Well, and let's-
One of them is significantly more feral than the other.
oh yeah
well, also in the level of acting is very disparate.
Yeah.
Like Clooney is such a better actor than Tarantino.
Yeah.
And Tarantino actually, I think, has a harder job because you're supposed to be playing like this fucked up feral like piece of shit, and he's just like, he doesn't have the acting chops.
He does. I don't think he's like embarrassing in this. Like it's not distracting, and I like that.
I think his best acting is when he's got Selma Hayek's foot in his mouth.
That's clearly when.
And I think that was his favorite part of shooting.
Probably. This is before we fully clocked his foot thing. I think we at this point we can indisputably point to that and say he's got a little bit of a foot
There's
thing.
more than one foot moment in this movie.
There are, but I like that he recognized his role in this movie. Like this movie would have been a disaster if he was playing the lead. If he was trying to play the like, Clooney isn't like a romantic character, but he's got like a bit of an outlaw like ethos to him, and he can be cool and he can be reasonable when he has to. And Tarantino clocked that he's like, no, I'm not that guy. I'm kind of the weird, squirrely guy that might be a serial killer.
The weird, swirly guy who definitely is
A
serial killer,
He's the
serial
only-
racist. Yeah,
the only
yeah.
one who kills people for a while.
Right. But there is, you say this movie was constructed to have like the two very like. I think constructed might be going far. To be clear, I love this movie. I've seen it so many times. This movie's a fucking blast.
I honestly
this movie
even
is
though
so fun.
I'm critical, I've seen this movie probably 10 times.
Look, it's not a movie that is impervious from criticism. It is this is a structurally extremely weird movie. Okay,
and
so
it's too long. It's way too long.
Yeah, it's like an hour 50, which is a little
no, it's
pushing
not.
it for.
It's 210.
No way, no, it's
It's
not.
an hour
2:10.
45.
No way, it's like an
No.
hour 45.
The one I watched was 2:10.
Oh, that's way
The
too
one I
long.
watched
Yeah,
was
if
an
you
hour
watched,
45.
I watched
What
it
did
on-
you watch?
Let's
you might have had it
counting
with.
commercials?
You might have had it with commercials. Yeah, it's an hour 48. Yeah, so
yeah.
we were all splitting the difference on that, but yeah. By the way, Ailish weighed in on the grasshoppers. Many grasshoppers migrate, but not all. But not all. Not all.
I
I'm
knew
a
they migrate.
non-migratory grasshopper.
Just wanted to close that loop. But yeah, no, look, think about how weird this movie is structurally. Like beyond the obvious, like
So-
the two halves of the movie. Like when the action finally starts ramping up, you have like story beats that you
I feel
expect
like
to hit.
when you have the introduction
Yeah.
of Harvey Keitel and their family, that's a pivot that I really enjoyed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that, I really enjoyed the introduction of that family, the introduction of putting that family in peril.
And it gives us somebody to root for.
Yeah.
Because you really don't want to root for these
well,
guys.
and there's so much
Especially not
needless.
Richie.
Like, I really don't think they needed to have the rape and murder of the bank teller, but like the way they put the young Juliette Lewis in peril by
Yeah.
just being looked at, like that was more than enough.
there's a concept.
I was getting the creeps from Quentin Tarantino's character in that. I was just like,
But this is kind of an example of what I'm talking about. There's a concept in screenwriting, and often maligned, often joked about concept called save the cat, where you have to give somebody their save the cat moment to make them likable. This movie kind of gives Clooney a save the cat moment by just making his brother so much more evil than he is. Like, Seth is violent and kind of crazy, but he has a code and he can control himself, and he doesn't do that to people.
It was his fault. He left
It's
her
his
with
fault.
him. Like, that's his bullshit.
Oh no, it's stupid, and he's clearly like. It also establishes that like Richie is like his cross to bear, right? It's his Achilles heel. It's kind of a weird reverse, like Save the Cat, where it's not Save the Cat, it's Kill the Bank Teller. We're not making him more likable by having him do a heroic act. We're making him more likable by contrast.
And again, they don't need that because
honestly,
it's George Clooney.
Yeah, and he's kind of at the peak of his like early like fireplug kind of charisma. This is before he was like king movie star. He was still kind of proving himself. So he's got a little bit of fiery edge to him.
Oh, and that ugly tattoo.
That tattoo. I'm glad they were
Jesus, that
wise to cover
tattoo.
that tattoo most of the movie. They reveal it at the end, and it's kind of like, you know what, buddy, we didn't need you. Stay under the jacket.
Yeah.
Your arms look great,
The bits that
Clooney,
were
but-
poking out was enough.
Yeah, that made it look cooler anyway. But
It's really funny though, like something that I don't think that we can like really register, and I feel like this is something that I don't register when I watch old movies.
Yeah.
Is that, or like not old movies, but movies
Older.
from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s? Is that like how much there was a stigma against tattoos?
Yeah.
Like like everyone's tatted up nowadays. So it's really it's interesting to see. Like I guess they were trying to portray him as like a bad guy by having like this neck tattoo.
Oh, and this was the beginning of like the tribal tattoo the craze that immediately got played out. But like this was definitely early in that run of trying to make it look cool. No, it's I do think I think Clooney is quite good in this. I don't know if I ever fully buy him as like this kind of hedonist scumbag. He's doing a lot, but like he does have this like inherent charm to him that makes it hard to fully buy him as this like bloodthirsty criminal.
I didn't really see him as being the bloodthirsty criminal.
He's more of a hair trigger, I guess. Like he doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
I definitely saw him as
necessarily
a
want to kill
bloodthirsty
people.
criminal. Like he's definitely bloodthirsty. Like he's very like just because he blames the violence on his brother doesn't mean that's actually true. Like
like he's definitely willing to get violent.
Like he like
Yeah,
with
I guess it really picks up when he
with the shall we say the Lady Parts Barker.
yes, that's a good Lady Parts Barker. Is that Bob Barker's daughter?
That was what I was trying to say without knowing what to do about it. So I was
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, I don't.
that
I was
Cheech
gonna do the
Marin
whole
played.
intro, but no, I'm glad I didn't do it. Yeah.
Like he completely assaults him. He doesn't even have a chance to talk to him.
Yeah.
he's completely, and then Harvey Keitel like talks him down, like of getting into fights all the time.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is like these vampires were trying to be like, get the fuck out of here, vampire or dudes. We don't want to kill you.
But again, I have to hit on how strange this movie is from a setup perspective, because it's one thing to have like it become a different kind of movie midway through. It's another thing to have it become a different kind of movie midway through with zero foreshadowing. There is not one clue. If you're watching this movie on cable and don't know what you're watching, in the first 45 minutes of the movie, there's not one whisper that there's going to be a vampire in this movie. It happens so suddenly, and when it happens, they hit the gas so fucking
I
hard.
love it. I love
they
that.
do not stop. for
The
rest of
second half of
Yeah.
this movie, I love the
It's a
second half
hoot.
of this movie so much.
Absolutely made the first half of the movie worth it, because if
Yeah.
it like you had kind of said, the first half of the movie wasn't super gripping. You were more, the only thing that was getting your attention and keeping you involved was George Clooney.
No, it was Harvey Keitel.
And then, Harvey Keitel also helped out once Harvey Keitel came in. But the second half of the movie immediately goes balls to the wall, and it was such a fun, goofy, wonderful experience.
And like you would expect, they set up a lot of things and then completely zag on it. Like you think Selma Hayek is going to be the big bad, right? She's clearly the queen of the vampires. It's all going to culminate in some big battle with her. Nope, she dies pretty quickly and pretty easily. So it's like, okay, so now
let's
the
see
next.
if we can talk about Selma Hayek's dance without being creepy.
Yeah, one other second though. The other big thing, the other thread
I
that they
won't
set
try.
up The other thread that they set up, like that thematically would have made sense, is like Richie is now the big bad, right? He gets bitten early on, he becomes a vampire, and now this monster that Seth has been protecting his entire life is something he has to face off with. But again, he dies pretty quickly too. Like they take him out pretty easily. So the movie still maintains this like breakneck speed throughout the rest of the movie, but we're not really building to any big climax. You know, we're just kind of surviving the night and seeing what kind of weird creatures we create.
Is Harvey Keitel dying? Like I feel like in the death of the brother.
Even then, those are kind of like they're not like they're given their moments, but they are a little tossed off. You know,
I don't know.
Like the setup
I
of maybe
I like
Jacob.
the pacing. I don't like it when there's big bads all the time. Like they kind of I sometimes think the horde is bad enough.
Yeah. I think like Sinners kind of did something similar where there was like a bad guy that they were like mostly concerned with. However, that guy wasn't the one. It was the horde of vampires that was like always the problem. And I think that like this movie did something similar. I say similar, but like quantity was better than quality, I think, for this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I love the little cheesy segment when Tom Savini's character Sex Machine has been bitten and he's like slowly but not slowly turning.
Yeah.
And like I love I really wish they would have gone a little bit deeper into like the vampires whispering to him, and because I'm just like it's so cool. Like this is like I just wish they'd spent more time, and
his facial expressions during that are just so phenomenal.
They're so good.
I'm definitely going to give you your Selma Hayek minute because I know you're dying for it, but I have to comment on how little consistency there is in the vampires in this movie.
No.
Like Selma Hayek turns into a snake, and then the Sex Machine turns into a giant rat, and then at one point there's this big lumbering thing with like a mouth in its stomach, and then like you turn over to the band for a split second and they're playing a guitar made out of very floppy corpse parts.
So that I did take issue with because constructing a guitar takes a lot of time and effort. So either he's prepared the guitar in advance for ready for bloody time, or he made the guitar whilst the thing was bloody, and I just don't think he could have time to construct a guitar.
He's friends with the guys from Gwar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a very Gwarish moment. Yeah, it was. Like all of a sudden you just cut over and they're just playing. Like it's such a silly thing to throw in because it makes no sense.
When we're talking about Selma Hayek, we should talk about the band Tito and the Tarantula.
Yeah,
he was the band was in Desperado as well.
Yeah,
they've got 3 really great songs on the soundtrack for Desperado, and this song like that perfectly cues up Selma Hayek's sexy dance. Like,
yes.
Oh my God, this is like one of the top 3 sexiest dances of all time.
Like truly.
Oh my God.
Selma Hayek shows up for just like a few minutes in this movie, but it is a captivating couple of minutes. Okay, this is her at the absolute peak of her beauty, which makes her top 5 most beautiful women in the world. And she's wearing this incredible outfit and doing this sexy dance and just tempting everybody. And she just kind of owns the movie. There's like this little 5-minute pause where she's just like, oh, yeah, no, here you go. Take the movie. It's all yours. Pour some tequila down your leg. I mean, it's a hot moment. It really solidified her as kind of like this bombshell. And turns out she's also a really fucking good actress on top of it, which is great. Like she would be an Oscar nominee, I think, within 5 years.
I love her little speech about making George Clooney a pet. And then,
I think I'll call you Spot. Yeah.
Well, it was so funny because and he's like, oh, it's got the stupidest comeback, which is, oh no, I've been married.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
and then he just
my
shoots
God.
her. It's like we're
Did
ending on
someone get paid for that joke because it's from 1944.
It really did not feel like anything that Tarantino wrote either, because it's like too boomerish. It's too like take my wife please. It's very
There's something that I want to make sure we do not miss, which is something that I feel is probably very Robert Rodriguez. So breaking the fourth wall here a little bit. Last movie we did, Astro Boy, butt guns. This time we turned it around.
Dick
This
gun.
time we got Dick Gun.
Yeah, we got Dick Gun. And I love that. Like, if you saw that guy with that set up in a bar, would you think he was like a tough, scary guy, or would you think he's got like it takes a lot of confidence to walk in wearing a Dick Gun? Isn't that from Desperado too? The Dick Gun, or was that used in Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
I'm not sure.
I feel like it comes back in another one of his movies. I might be crazy. But
that moment, I had to go back. I was like, fucking what? Excuse me?
But it's funny too because like it's let's say it's a grower, you know. It's not even that. It's a little stubby guy. Like I'm glad he's not even like over exaggerating his point here. It's a snub nose. It just has like 12 barrels going on. It's pretty crazy. It's there's so much like kind of tonal whiplash, and it's really
Fun.
It's fun. It's a wild ride,
really
and there's
fun.
Yeah.
It's not that there's not. It's not a lack of care. It's a lack of I don't give a care. You
There
know,
was so much good practical, like vampire. We talk about there is a sheer variety of types of vampires with no consistency. I don't care.
I don't care either. They're
I
fucking
feel
around.
like yeah, they're probably descended from Aztec gods, but or whatever.
All the backstory we get comes from like one final like closing shot, like a pull-out shot where we reveal that this biker bar was actually built on an ancient Aztec temple or something. And it's like that's as much backstory as we get. That's kind of all that we need. And like even then, it's like, yeah, no, you tell me there's vampires, I'm on board. Yeah.
And I love how Cheech's character at the end is just like, there's like, why did you pick this place? And he's like, I don't know, I drove past it and it seemed kind of cool.
Yeah, just random chance that they all kind of wound up there. Yeah, you know, I like that they're just not really precious with any of the characters. Like they kill the kid in this movie, which was like when I saw it for the first time, I'm like, oh man, you talk about plot armor, you really think that guy is going to survive just because he's like a young teenage boy. But yeah, no, he goes out in a blaze of glory. So does Harvey Keitel. And again, one of many moments where they're setting up like a boss character or like a tough fight or something like that, and it doesn't really turn out that way. But I always love a good like preparing for battle montage. You know, they're digging through these back rooms, and there's all these like loads that truckers have left because they've been eaten. You know, so it's like they're making whatever they can out of baseball bats and squirt guns and what appears to be a jackhammer. What is it that Clooney has? Is that it's just like a jackhammer with like a stake in it?
I'm not sure.
It's kind of not a very effective weapon for that situation. I feel like the crossbow is probably your best bet, but
one of my favorite things is when Harvey Keitel makes like a cross out of a shotgun, and it's just like,
and a bat, and he's just like cocking it with like it's such a clumsy looking like motion every time too. It's so funny.
It's delightful.
It's great. Yeah, no, it's awesome. No, it's total chaos, but it's a really fun, really trashy, obvious like throwback to the kind of grindhouse movies that these guys grew up loving.
When that dude, I think his name's Frost in the movie, rips out a vampire's heart, and it's still beating, and he's still going, and then they stab it with a pencil. I fucking, oh my god,
so goopy, so gross,
so good. Like, just I love when people rip people's hearts out. Like it's just like. I think it's
a cool effect
so
every time.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think this movie's a blast. I think the tonal dissonance is kind of part of the package. It's wild and kind of like unhinged in all the best ways. And I think this movie's just a treat. It's a fun, goofy little gory treat. I'm not sure if I'm going to say the same thing about the game adaptation, which is, oh boy. Okay, From Dusk Till Dawn, the game was released October 4th, 2001. It's developed by Game Squad and published by Dreamcatcher Interactive. It was exclusive to Windows. To full disclosure, we tried to find a playable copy of this, and we were not really able to. We had to settle for some lengthy YouTube videos.
There's some DRM that makes it. It's probably more. If I had spent a little bit more time, I probably could have figured it out. But I was already like, I was doing it while I was watching the movie, and I was like,
I feel like we've gotten.
It seems like one that will be fine without.
We've kind of gotten the gist of it, but this is a direct sequel to the events of the movie. So the movie ends with Seth driving off to go visit El Rey, which is this like criminal resort town in Mexico. Apparently, he gets pinched along the way. They pin all of Richie's crimes on him. I don't know why they needed to add that detail because Seth committed a lot of crimes and murders as well. So he doesn't need all of them. It's not like he's
That reminded me of the movie of the weird chyrons at the bottom of the newscast where they're like, Texas Rangers 6 dead, civilians 6 dead, police officers 6 dead.
Yeah,
you're like, what the hell? Like,
yeah. They had like the running body count in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And so, he's definitely killed a lot of people. He's worth being in there on his own steam. But either way, Seth has been taken into custody, and obviously you take the one place that you can take a maximum security prisoner on death row. You take him out to the prison ship. Yeah.
Boats.
Big old converted yacht in the middle of the ocean.
I mean, this is ultimately similar to what they did in Marvel, right? They had a
Obviously,
big
yeah.
floating prison.
Yeah, exactly. They had the raft. They make the raft and just kind of like lock him out there. But obviously, some vampires got onto the boat. How? Don't worry about it. They were there.
No, another vampire with another amount of brother issues.
That's right. Yeah, we get a lot of
Yeah.
like brother vampire issues going on. So yeah, now the vampires are loose on the ship. You have to team up with a priest and a couple remaining guards and other inmates and fight your way out and survive. And you do so with some gloriously pointy early 2000s polygons. My God, is this a pointy game?
One of the things that I love to look for in games from these eras is how many fingers do they have? Like, how many actual fingers do the models have? Because the answer is usually like one.
Maybe,
like a lot of
yeah.
time, it's like at first you end up with like the whole hand is just one non-opposable object.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get like, I think Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, they broke the thumb out.
Yeah,
Like,
it took a
oh
bit.
shit, we got thumbs now. And then eventually it's like we get a trigger finger because that's what we're using with the guns. And then nowadays we get full hands.
Right. This
when
game gives us a drumstick, I think. Yeah. Zero distinction on the fingers. You kind of look like a little turkey leg.
The walking animations are so bad.
It's
They have very loud stepping.
we talk about how elusive it is to find like a good bad video game, because a good bad movie, is over in like 90 minutes. A good bad video game is something you have to engage with, and that can be a harder sell. I think this one is pretty close to the good bad video game.
I don't know. It was like a 3-hour game.
It's like a 3-hour game. It looks like it's perfectly
Looks
like
super
playable.
boring. It looks so boring.
But it's punctuated by these like dialogue moments and like these cutscenes that are just kind of deranged and seemingly like ChatGPT, like 25 years before ChatGPT. It is that level of kind of random.
There's one point where Seth meets a lady and he's like, "Who are you? I feel like I've met you before." And she's like, "I'm a demolitions expert, but I left my bombs in the rec room." And then he's just like, "I already divorced a wife because she annoyed me." And you're just like, "What the fuck?"
End of thought. End of thought.
thought.
That was it. No follow up. No bone mow. No
we
anything.
all
That
burst
is.
out laughing so hard.
We had to rewind it because it's just like, wait, what does that mean? Part of this is because this is a French game, and I think it was like translated a couple of times. I also fully do not believe this was built from the ground up to be a From Dusk Till Dawn video game. I think they snagged whatever license they could and put it on whatever kind of like middling third-person shooter. But, this does give you the option to go from third person to first person. So if you really, really want to get a good look at how sideways you are holding your guns,
Oh, because you hold them real sideways.
you hold them real sideways, because that is what cool gangsters do. Even if you have a stun gun, you hold it out and sideways so that you're like punching them with the side of the plastic, I guess. Like it's all very clunky. I think the model that they put together for the Seth character does not look like George Clooney in any
Which, to
way.
be fair,
He did not give
it
his
was
license.
2001.
It was 2001. He did not give his license to this. I would be
and
surprised.
I would not say this was the pinnacle of 2001.
I would genuinely be shocked if he knew this existed. Yeah, because he probably did not get a paycheck off of this.
Oh, I doubt it. I don't think they used anything related to him.
Yeah, it's about a 3.5-hour game. We sped ahead to catch the ending, which is a very Buffy-looking vampire design, or maybe a little bit of like a little Nosferatu, a little Salem's Lot. Kind of a tall, lanky, elfin-looking vampire, and he has a couple of bikini babes. You have to beat all of his waves of bikini babes and then shoot out the windows. And I believe you stab him through the butthole and pin him to the wall, and the sun melts him. So that was a move. And then the game just kind of ends. The whole ship explodes.
What year did Blade come out?
98.
98?
Yeah, we'll be doing the first two.
Oh,
Yeah,
will
we'll be doing-
we?
Yeah, we
Oh
sure
my
will.
gosh.
Yeah,
Never seen
yeah.
Blade.
Oh, Blades.
I'm excited.
The first two Blades are very fun. It's actually a really good way to stop. Yeah, you stop right there. Stop hard. Yeah, so we'll be talking about those, but this one's kind of in the cusp of that. Like, I don't know. The game is dumb as a box of rocks. Like, it has got nothing going on other than, like, I think you get 19 or 20 different weapons in this game, which is like a pretty good variety for this time, if that's something that you care about. I don't know if there's anything like particularly outlandish or anything. Maybe like a circular saw. You can use like power tools in one segment of the game, but even that is not too different from what they did with like Doom or something, you know. So it was weirdly kind of a well-reviewed game at the time. I don't know that it holds up at all. I was entertained by how very, very stupid it was, but
I was discovering video games around this time period, and I played what I think, looking back on, might be considered one of the best games of 2001, which was the first Halo game.
Sure.
And boy, howdy.
It's crazy that these came out in the same year. Yeah, it's a very different thing.
Very
Metal Gear
different
Solid
amounts of
2 came out this
writing.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, the narrative was not fun.
No. Pretty mediocre game. I think it was funny enough to kind of like tip into watch a couple of videos of this, but not something I would necessarily want to play the entire time. I don't know. Are we in accord on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not much to say about it, unfortunately. But that is okay, because we're going to have a whole month of scary movies to talk about, and I'm excited to get into it. Before we do, we need to talk about, is this a good movie, good game, a bad movie, bad game, or somewhere in between? And I'm really curious how we're all going to categorize these. Justin, why don't you go ahead first?
I think the first half was an okay movie, and then the second half was a fun movie. I'd say worth watching. Just maybe do laundry during the first half, and you won't really miss anything.
Fair.
And then the game looked playable but boring as hell, so I'll say probably bad game.
Probably bad game. J-Ben, where do you come down?
Yeah, like with the caveat that the first quarter of the movie you just don't need to watch, or just don't pay attention, like second screen it.
I think there is some good stuff in the first half of the movie. The opening sequence with John Hawkes in the convenience store, I thought was really cool.
the convenience store thing.
I feel like it definitely didn't age well.
I think
no.
I think the convenience store stuff was entertaining.
Yeah.
I just like when it doesn't. This movie doesn't hit for me until you get to the titty twister, and then it's just all the way balls to the
Story
wall.
of my life.
Like amazing, fun movie.
Cheech Marin welcomes you into the rest of the movie.
Lady Parts Barker. I feel like that I should get an award for.
Lady Parts Barker.
What was
they need to change that. Yeah.
He had a very interesting IMDb.
His last name was his favorite word.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and yeah, he again never addressed that Cheech Marin is playing a border agent, this guy, the Lady Parts Barker, and then the criminal that they're meeting up at the end. He's a very distinctive guy, but either way, it's fun to see him. Yeah, I think this movie is a damn hoot. I have a great time with it every time I watch it. It's gory, it's stupid, it's got kind of an unabashed like love of genre and gore and special effects in the back half, and I think the first half is a pretty solid, fun, mean, nasty little crime movie. And this game is, look, it's a relic. It made.
Oh yeah, I never got finished.
Oh yeah,
the game is bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm coming down. It's fun as like a relic of that era of gaming. Like if you played things like The Suffering or Manhunt, games that were trying to be like real edgy and real violent and real dark, but everybody still looked like they were kind of made in Minecraft. So it's that dissonance that's kind of a lot of fun to look back on, but probably not a game I would enjoy playing all the way through. But man, can that guy hold his gun sideways. All right, everybody. We're starting the month off strong, and next week is going to be even better, because next week we're taking a little break from the hardcore thrills, and instead we're talking about the horror comedy stylings of one Mistress of the Dark. That's right. It's Elvira, 1988's Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Yes, there is a game. Yes, it is a very strange game to go with that movie. We're going to be getting into it. My good friend Juliet's joining us. It's going to be a hoot. We'll see you for that one next time, everybody. You all be cool.